Property as well. Godena, according to my book, is the third dimension of the concept of time. So I actually borrowed some words from Minister Niningi and my dialect to coin this term, because I had a concept in mind and I was looking for words to describe the concept and I couldn't find any. So I went back to my local dialect and borrowed a word from my dialect, coined it to explain the dimension of time. Please pick up a copy and read it. I will basically talk about two things containing the book. The rest I will leave to you to read. I will talk about Gorena, and I will talk about a mathematical formula that by God's grace I have invented, which we have also developed a mobile application, and which we will launch it on Google Play Store. You will download it, put it on your mobile devices, and you will be able to calculate the age of your soul. I'm going to give you the link. So first, let me talk about Gorena. Gorena means God time in our dialect. It means two things. Enna, God, we know God, the being that we worship in Christianity. But Enna is a word from our dialect which means two things, either the sun or time, depending on the context in which you use. So in the context of my book, it means time. So I am now coming out saying that there is a third dimension, a dimension that is beyond time and eternity, which I now call Gorena. In Gorena, I come to realize that that's when God exists. You have a mobile phone, right? Is the manufacturer, the owner of the mobile phone, is he living inside there? You can have a mobile phone. He exists outside of the mobile phone. The creator, the God that I see, it doesn't exist in time, nor does he exist in eternity. But he exists beyond time and eternity in that realm I call Gorena. If he existed in time, I tell you, he would be born as a baby. When Jesus came down, he subjected himself to time. So time took a toll on him. And he underwent the change. Can you see that? Even in eternity, I come to discover that there's a sense of time, but that time moves very, very slow. I'll explain that a little bit later. So I would like to explain this Gorena, and I will leave the rest to you to read and find out. So in Gorena, I realized that time ceases to move. Time is in constant state of inertia, or state of zero state, and no, it doesn't move, in a neutral state. That's why the statements like God is the same yesterday, today, is forever. That is not true in time. You can never remain the same forever. That's why He is the first and the last. You think that you are ending, but that's where He is beginning. You are thinking that this is your start, but that is His end. So He is everywhere at once. After seeing the qualities and these characters of God, I came to realize that this guy exists outside of time and eternity. So I decided to explain those things and then decided to call that John Gorana. He's always like this. Moses actually was trying to understand him, so he asked him, "What is your name?" "I am. I am who I am. I am the all-sufficient one." There is no past, present, and future in him. In him is only now. So that unique now time, I call it Gorana. Please, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with me or not, please help me to spread this word all over the world. We are very good at exporting raw materials. Can we just, you see, Charles Darwin just brought into the world a garbage. And people are talking about this garbage, saying that we came out of monkeys and all these things. So I am inviting you now, help me to spread some of our ideas into the world. So you know what? In Gorana, time ceases to move. So, by God's grace, I have come up with a mathematical formula to calculate this as well. So you know what? When God sits like this, He pulls the past towards Him, the present, the future towards Him, and then is condensed or compressed into constant zero. Therefore, He can come out and say, "I am that I am." He has no past, no present, and no future. And yet He created past, present, and future. I have also come to discover that this God, being called God, has 360-degree vision. You have limitation. If I focus my attention on you, vision on you, I can withdraw if I want to focus on this direction. But God can see, and then He has 360 vision, so He can focus 100% on you, and He can focus at the back 100% and all around. He can see 100%. There is no impossibility. He has no start and no finish. He has no beginning and no end. He definitely doesn't exist in eternity, nor does He exist in time. He exists in a realm that time ceases to function or move. If you throw a baby, lift him up, and you bring in time and throw him into eternity, the picture is not showing up there, but it's okay, bear with me. Oh, if you throw this baby that you see seeing on the board into Gorana, he would remain like that eternity, for eternity. For eternity. Because time ceases to move. For you to age, time must move. So in that kind of realm where time ceases to move, you will wait to age, but you will not age. Because time is at constant zero. That's what the Bible says. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He has no beginning and no end. So if you throw that baby into that realm, I tell you, he would not even grow, he would not even shrink, he would not even die. He would be like that forever. I have got scriptural beggings and all these things. But you know, I don't have the time, so I'm recommending you. My utmost recommendation is the book. You can see this slice, apple. You can put a knife through it, and within seconds it can change color. But if you do the same in Gorana, it will remain fresh, will not change color. Time doesn't move. Change is subject to time, movement of time. As time moves, you are tied to time. You start to grow beard, and then become wrinkled and die. God made a decision. When He came from Gorana into time, He made an intentional decision to subject Himself to time, so He became a baby. One time He wanted to prove that, so He went up to the Mount of Transfiguration. He just stepped into eternity, and then he saw normal nature came upon Him, and then He came back into time, and then He became a 33-year-old man. there is fine line that is separating time and eternity. Okay, so these are some of the scriptures. By the way, I am a Christian. You have heard the MC correctly, introducing me. I am the first and the last. Apart from me, there is no God. Isaiah 44:6. You see, I am the first and the last. Either your beginning or your end, I am there. You can start here, but you will not be there until you arrive there. His presence is everywhere. I am the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Revelation 22:13. King of righteousness and peace, without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God. It remains a priest forever. Without a father, without a mother, without a beginning, without an end. It just exists in that split moment which I call Godena. That split moment, now time. He exists in that now time. And out of that now time, he creates past, present, and future. He has the ability to bring full back your past and full back future and shrink or compress it into zero and can remain like that. That's how I come to understand him. Okay, now the formula. Formula to calculate Godena. In Godena, past, present, and future are compressed into constant zero. So now I believe, I'm not a person of science, but I believe that I have promulgated a theory which is known as theory of compression. I am now coming out saying that time can be compressed down to zero, light can be compressed down to zero, and even gravity can be compressed down to zero. Your black hole, I believe that this can explain black hole. You direct light into black hole and light doesn't escape. So I am coming out saying that light is in the state of compression, just like time in Godena. Godena is equals to time or eternity time, which I call light time. You bring it, and then you compress it. You pull future back, you compress it, and then it becomes zero, and it remains like that. That is Godena. So in God, there is no past, no present, no future. He exists in that now time, that split moment. Okay, now I am coming to my second point. Why I claim that I can be able to calculate the age of your soul. The birthday that you celebrate. Sorry, but that is the celebration for your body. That is the age of your body. Not from conception to death, but from birth to death. Your birthday will cease the moment when you die. The moment you die, that's when your birthday will cease. But I am now saying that the age of your soul is completely different. I'm going to calculate your age. Are we all on the same page? Okay, thank you very much. The Bible says, for 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is fast, like a watch in the night. 1,000 years is like a night passing by, like one day. Mathematically, that is not correct. But this psalmist wrote from, Dr. Cook talked about revelation knowledge. So this is a revelation knowledge. This does not exist in the ordinary realm. This is a revelation knowledge. Knowledge that you somehow can be able to tap into the unseen world and be able to understand. Is that okay? So you see, this psalmist could say that 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday, meaning that one day or 24 hours, and it is passing by. This writer, the psalmist, lived 2,000 years, at least 2,000 years before Apostle Peter. Apostle Peter is again writing 2,000 years apart, maybe 1 or 2,000 years apart, saying, but do not forget one thing, my dear friends, there is no difference in the Lord's sight between one day and 1,000 years. To him, the two are the same. These two different writers living 1,000 years apart and saying the same thing. Mathematically, this is not true. I did my calculation. In 1,000 years, you have 365,000 days, excluding leave days. You take one day away from that 365,000 days, and you are left with 364,999 days. So mathematically, these scriptures are wrong. Can you see that? Can you see what I'm saying here? Mathematically, this is wrong. Because the stark difference is 364,999 days. So one day can't be equivalent to 1,000 years. So we have to understand this from a different angle altogether. I can find a clue there, right there. The clue is right there. The clue is that to God, 1,000 years is like one day, and one day is like 1,000 years. Therefore, this must be understood from God's perspective, not man's perspective. If to man, then we could use our man's mathematics to understand this. To God, not to you. Therefore, do not just go around preaching and saying, oh, one day is like 1,000 years. Okay, prove to me. Mathematically, you can't. You have to understand God, understand God's perception, understand the way God is seeing things, then you can be able to interpret this. Without that, I see that you can't be able to say that this is true. So you know what? I prayed to God. God helped me to understand this. And He actually helped me to understand. Okay, now listen. One day is equivalent to 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is equivalent to one day. I have made a discovery. I came to realize that in the eternity, that's where heaven exists. In that realm, there's only one day that stretches throughout eternity. On earth, you have number of days, but in that eternity, especially heaven, only one day exists. But in that one day, you have the sense of past, present, and future. That's what the Bible says. There is no darkness. It is only nights that split up our day, and then we start calling them one day, day 1, day 2, day 3. But in heaven, there is no such day or night. Therefore, only one day that stretches throughout eternity. So in heaven, there's only one day. On earth, we have many days. But in that one day, you have the sense, I have made a discovery that there is a sense of past, present, and future. Activities take place. Change take place, but at a very slow rate. Time moves very fast, much faster than in heaven. And in Godena, time ceases to move. In heaven, I made a discovery that time moves, but at a slower pace. Okay, why God would make this kind of statement? You know what? Let's come to ourselves now. I come to realize that this awesome God that we worship, He has X-ray eyes and microscopic eyes. He can zoom into your soul and spirit, and He can look at a cross-section all at once, simultaneously. Your sight can reach as far as the face and then come back, your vision. But God's vision goes beyond the face, into the soul, and even into the spirit, and then look beyond. You can line up 1 trillion people like this He can see through them all and to the last man and beyond. He sees with a eye that is microscopic and it's like X-ray eyes, I should say. So you know what? When God sees you, say for instance, I try to explain this concept here now. When he sees you, say your name is Jack. When he sees you, he doesn't only see you, your body, your soul, and the spirit, but he sees you through the whole cross-section. He knows the age, everything at the same time. I have got scriptural backing everything, so I will not go down that far, but I'm just giving some ideas here. So now let's understand this. I realize that 1,000 years is 8 years or 8 time. And 24 hours is eternity hours. So it is according to God. To God, these two are the same. Can you see what I say? So he sits on his throne in God and then he looks across the cross-section of time and eternity at the same time. And then he sees that 1,008 years is equivalent to 12 eternity hours or heaven hours, which I call light time. You know what? Your 12 hours experience in heaven is 1,000 years at experience. According to God, he sees the cross-section of time and eternity at the same time, and then he can release such statements saying these two are the same. 1,008 years is equivalent to 24 eternity hours. Therefore, Jesus' being in heaven is only 48-hour experience. Don't jump up and down thinking that he has been out there for 1,000 years. The system of time up there is completely different. Don't get him wrong. Don't misunderstand him. He is being up there only for 48 hours. A little over 48 hours. This formula that I'm going to give, you can be able to calculate the 3 a.m. of the third day. So some unscrupulous people might take it out of context and try to predict the return of Jesus. So I have got a disclaimer in the book. I'm not releasing that secret now. Using the formula, you can be able to calculate 3 a.m. of the third day. So I am not going to release that. And I have got a disclaimer in the book as well. So, okay, let's put that aside. Let's come to the calculation now. Okay, to God, when he sees through John, the 20 years old who is attending courses at UPNC right now, he's 20 years old. So if God, according to God, 1,000 years is equivalent to 24 hours, then to God, John, who is 20 years old on earth, when he looks through him, the cross-section of body, soul, and the spirit all at the same time, he sees him like this, I believe. Okay, 1,008 years is equals to 24 hours, eternity hours. Some people who have had a near-death experience will confirm this with you. The time in heaven moves at a different phase. 1,008 years or 8 years is equivalent to 24 hours or 1 day, eternity hours. 500 years is equals to 12 hours. 250 years is equals to 6 hours. In heaven, somebody is thinking, oh, I have been here for only 6 hours. Sorry, but down here on earth, 250 years have come and gone. Your 250 years experience is but only 6 hours experience when God sees it. So 62 years, 6 months, if you are 62 years old, sorry, but when God looks across your cross-section, your body is 62.5 months old or 62 years, 6 months old, but your soul is 1 hour, 30 minutes old. So stop jumping up and down. Angels live longer than you, and they might be thinking, oh, these guys have only been down there for 1 hour, 30 minutes. They don't have the experience of time. Because when God sees, he sees across the cross-section. Sorry, but if you are 31 years old and 3 months, or 31 years, 3 months old, you are but 45 minutes old in the eyes of God. Stop jumping up and down. Stop thinking that you can turn the foundation of the world upside down. Where is your power? It looks right through you. Psalms 139. John or Jack, who is 20 years old, is but 28.8 minutes old, according to my calculation. You are thinking that I am 20 years old, I can play in Anders and all these things. But in here, 28.8 minutes old is jumping up and down. In the eyes of the angels, you are but a minute old. Stop showing up. Because this awesome God, when He looks across the cross-section of your being, He sees the age of your spirit, the age of your soul, and the age of your body, which is 20 years old. But you don't celebrate. When you put the soul in, you only celebrate the birth of the body, excluding 9 months in the womb, rent-free. Okay? So this is the layman's way of calculating this. So now I am going to give you a mathematician's way of calculating this. L is equals to 24t over 1,000. Instead of out of the bracket, you have 60s. The formula L is equals to 24t over 1,000. So we have developed a mobile application basing on this formula. We will launch it on Google Play Store, but I will also give you a website on which we have put this formula. You will download it, put it on your mobile devices, you will calculate it. Whenever you go and preach, you said, whenever you go to a birthday party or so, and they celebrate 20 years old, you just say, sorry, you are 28.8 minutes old. So the calculator's name will be Gonol's Eternity Calculator. So L represents light time or eternity time. 24 is the 24 hours, that light time or eternity hours. T is the time, the age of your body. Over 1,000. And then you can follow through the formula there. I'm not a mathematician, but this is based on revelation. Revelation sometimes supersedes knowledge. And when you tell them to explain using knowledge, they will sometimes have a hard time. So 24T, okay, if John or Jack is 20 years old,